This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to bonus episode number 198, and I am here. It's the one and only Dicey Grenor, yeah.
Oh, I like that clapping. All right.
I can't believe it, man. How many years have we been doing this top 10?
Is this number 5 or 6?
Gotta be. I mean, I'll have the official count, but I think it is. I think we're closer to 6. So
yeah, I think so.
But,
I think last year you said 5, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. So this is number 6, and I appreciate you coming back, especially considering the fact that you just got back in from Chabella.
Yes, I was in. I went to Venezia. I went to Venice first, and then Firenze. I went to France. I mean, not France. Florence, and then Rome, and then Positano, Amalfi Coast, and Pompeii, that area. Then back up to Rome. So I stayed in Rome 5 days, and I think 4 Florence, 3 Venice, and then another extra night in Venice. So it was just me, my first solo trip, and I stayed for 2 weeks.
Wow. I'm going to give it up to you for that.
Yeah. I mean, I just had a ball. Like, I wasn't going to parties or anything. I'm not interested in doing the nightlife thing. I wasn't even doing any shopping. It was just all sightseeing. You know, I'm a visual person. These are places that I dreamed about being. I watch on TV all the time. I read about. So it was just amazing to be there, you know, to see the opulence of the Vatican and stuff like that. I just loved it. Yes.
So did you get any narcoleptic vampire inspiration while you were there?
I got some inspiration. It wasn't from a narcoleptic vampire, though, but I did get a lot of inspiration. I've been doing a lot of talking to anybody to listen, basically. I know my husband is sick of just the thought process that I'm going through. My brother, he had gone to, I think, Spain and France like the month before. So he was the one that kind of gave me the courage to do it without a plan, because I usually have to have everything structured. And this time I didn't know what I was doing until like the day before. And then I started booking all sorts of excursions. Also, I did a lot of walking tours, day tours and stuff like that. Oh. And so, but he gave me the courage to just do it without having to have everything pre-planned. Like, just go and just enjoy yourself, do what it is you want to do without being so structured. And so I was going back and forth with him a lot, and all the different thoughts that I had, and just kind of, you know, just processing what it is that I was feeling. Because, and to give you an example, like one of the times I'm thinking, man, this is like a waste. Like, it's so much that it's wasteful, right? And then I had to come right back around and be like, I'm looking at people and they are loving it. They're loving it. This is inspiration. It's great to see how the arts are so respected and so revered in that area, in Florence and in Rome. And then looking at the structure, like that is art everywhere. And how the whole city is carved out on the coast, you know, on Positano, it's carved out of rock and out of the mountains. Like, that is just a beautiful scenery, and being in that environment is just inspiring. So it's not a waste. It's not a waste. Because people see the value in it. They're getting value in it. Like, if you build it, they will come. So, you know, but these are the kind of thoughts that I was having. So not narcoleptic vampire, but a lot of different inspirations. That's a long answer for you.
No, good stuff. I mean, I can imagine. I mean, if I'm in, like, seeing all the, what do you call it, antiquities,
yes,
and all that old art, man, I would be thinking Exorcist, but, but you know, we'll get into that.
Yes, and I watched Haunting in Venice, like, before.
Okay, yeah.
So when I'm there in Venice, I'm talking to them about, like, the ghost stories and stuff. Like, I want to get all into that. I didn't get around to taking a ghost tour. That was something that I wanted to do, but I just got busy doing everything else, and so I didn't come back and do that. But with my walking tour guide through Venice, I did ask her about some of that, and everywhere that I went, I asked them about some ghost stories and stuff.
Good stuff. Before we get into the top 10, I do want to ask you about the podcast, Sex and Horror. You guys still rolling with that since you've been on your excursions and all and everything?
Yes, and I was doing, and we were still recording. We still recorded 2 episodes while I was in Italy. Like,
wow, okay.
Yes, I
Go
just had
ahead.
to factor it for 7 hours ahead, but we still kept the calendar rolling. We're in our fifth season. It's been, I mean, it's been a whirlwind. Like I don't think we've probably been as consistent as you have been. Like we've missed, some weeks here and there, but it's still been exciting. We're still talking about things we enjoy talking about, so it's still fun. But we don't take it so seriously that it's like it's a job, like it's a work, like it has to be this way or it's not. We keep it fun. So whatever we get to, we get to. Whatever we don't, oh well.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Same thing. We do it every week, but it's like therapy. So that's why we have to do it every week. To stay sane.
Yes.
All right. So one quick thing though. Your book. You've got a new book, right? Or your latest book. Just before we get started, go ahead.
I do. I have Demented Dimensions Part 1. Now, Tommy B, I have been so bad about getting stuff out because I've been working a lot. That's always my story. I got a lot of different irons in the fire. But particularly, I have like over 30 short stories that I've been posting on Patreon over the past few years. A lot of them are erotic short horror stories. So I pulled a lot of them out and I started editing them, for public consumption. So I was going to do it in 3 parts for 666. So you have 6 stories in part 1, 6 stories in part 2, 6 stories in part 3. I have part 1 available, and I have had so many opportunities to have part 2 and part 3 available, but I just been busy doing other stuff. So I'll get back to it when I get back to it.
But you got to do it when you feel it.
Yes.
So yeah, I get that. And one last thing, and then we'll get into the top 10 with the Hollywood writers thing that's been going on, the strike. I know the writer side is done. The actor side still kind of negotiating as we tape this. And you were doing some screenwriting. Any effect on you in terms of?
It doesn't affect me at all. I'm not. I'm not in a union. I do support unions, but I'm not in a union, and I'm not scabbing either because I have my own production company. Spicy Dicey Productions is a thing. So I act independently. So whatever I do, I'm still doing under my own independent umbrella. So it doesn't affect me at all, and I've been watching it very closely to see how it is affecting everybody else. In the industry, it's almost like the industry kind of imploded because of people being without jobs for a while. There have been a lot of things that I've been watching, like how these deals have been coming across, how the writers' rooms shrank. And then so they were making a lot less. They weren't able to get insurance and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how that develops. But then also AI has come on, and so that's been some issues. So I've been watching it just because I'm a nerd like that, and I like to know have a pulse on what's going on. But it doesn't really affect me, not really.
Got you. I got you. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and get into the top 10. And I did not prep with you at all other than asking you, what should I look at? So this is going to be a surprise for me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm excited about it. I've got some things that excited me, and hopefully you include them on the list. So
okay.
I'm going to let you roll. What you got?
All right, let's do it. Now, the first one is going to surprise you.
Oh.
All right, so the first one is Haunted Mansion. These are kind of in order though. So it is like on the bottom of my list, but I want it to be on my list. There's probably something that should be on there that's not on there because I'm putting Haunted Mansion. But it's because I want to see more of this. We have Lakeith Stanfield, who is hot as hell, and he is a fantastic actor. He is bringing some darkness. I don't really know his story, but you can tell there's some darkness that he is tapping into and that he is bringing on screen, and I want to see more of that. He should be a leading man. He's destined to be a leading man. I'm very happy to see him leading this movie. This is a remake, as you know, of a 2003 movie with Eddie Murphy. So, like, if we're going to have all these other Hollywood remakes, let's remake some of these too. I liked it because it's funny. I was laughing. It's family friendly. So, I was like, well, man, this should have come out around Halloween in October. But I was like, oh, yeah, but I get what they did. They put it out then so that they could get the box office, and then they'll bring it out around, like on streaming around October. So that's exactly what they did. They brought it out. But as of IMDb reports, they had an opening weekend of 24 million, a gross of 68 million, worldwide gross of 117 million. The budget was 150 million. So according to IMDb, they haven't met their budget yet, and I want them to. I want them to. So this is why it's on my list. It may not be like the top 10 for the year, but it's going to be on my top 10 because I want to see more of it, and I want.
Can I say this about Lakeith? You said Lakeith. I watched The Changeling on Apple, and I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
because he was in Get Out. He was in that. Atlanta, he was kind of weird too. The TV series. But you're absolutely right about the darkness he brings. I haven't seen this one, but after watching The Changeling, I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
he's in that genre. He could succeed if he gets the right movies. Yeah.
I took my kids to see this one, and we had a blast sitting in there eating our popcorn, laughing. There was some jump scares. It's not scary though. I would not say that this is scary, but they do a good job with the effects too, with how they're moving in with the ghosts. I love that, and so it's going to be on my list.
Good deal. And I'm glad you explained the seasonal thing, because when I saw it come out in the summer, I'm like, damn, why didn't they just wait until Halloween? But I get it.
Yes. Now they can.
What you got next? Number 9.
Okay, number 9, and like I said, I think I'm gonna do these in order. Maybe not. I'm gonna put.
You can interchange. People. Yeah, it's either way. It's cool.
We can try. I'll let you know that that's coming in last. But next, Renfield. Renfield blew me away. Renfield was one of those movies that when I first saw it advertised, I was like, "You have got to be kidding me! This is a joke, right? There is no way I'm gonna go see that." But it's a vampire movie, so that kind of weighed on me. My daughter and I went to see this one. Renfield is phenomenal. It is brilliant. Nicolas Cage does such a phenomenal job as Dracula. It is, there's great action in it. Nicholas Hoult is a hottie, and he is bringing all the action and stuff. I love the gore. I would watch this again. So I think that is a very good indicator of how much I enjoyed this. This is definitely, this was a no-brainer. This was definitely on my list. Renfield is a great movie.
I'll tell you, I saw the trailer. I hadn't seen it yet.
Okay.
It's gory as hell.
Yeah.
even in the trailer.
Yes,
the way they were taking people out. So yeah, I'm glad to see you put that on the. And Nicolas Cage has a cult following, a strong following, however you want to say it. So I think that's a good choice. Good choice.
Yes, and I hope there is a sequel to this one. We need more of these, and it's funny in a dark humor kind of way too.
Good.
So this is the first 2 on my list. Kind of start out as comedies. So but I loved Renfield, like really.
Cool. What you got at number 8?
The Boogeyman. Now, this is one that I remember. It's kind of interesting because I went to a screening of this one, Houston Horror Film Festival. They've done quite a few screenings this year, and I've tried to make as many as I can. The Boogeyman was one of them that when it first came out, I really enjoyed it at the time. Like, yeah, this was good. This is like taking our childhood monster that in the dark and personifying them, putting a face on them, putting a monster with the creature that's in the dark, that's hidden. And so I love that. It is very gory also, and it's psychological too. This one again has taken childhood nightmares, childhood dreams, childhood fears, and made everybody look at it. So I think that's very relatable too. So we have the Boogeyman, basically the one that the childhood story. That's what the movie is about. Would I watch it again? Sure. I wouldn't run to go watch it again. And there's I don't even remember a lot of nuances about the movie. I watched it kind of earlier in the year, maybe February, what comes out to February, March, somewhere around there. But it was good. I remember enjoying that. It relies on scaring kids, but when you see the terror in the kids' eyes, I think that's relatable when it comes to the dark and everything.
Oh yeah. You know what? I will tell you, I know I read that book because Night Shift is one of my favorite Stephen King
That's right.
short story anthologies.
It's a Stephen King.
Oh yeah, I read that back in the day. So when I saw it, keep in mind that every Stephen King movie is not a good Stephen King movie, but this is one of the better Stephen King adaptations.
Yes.
And even though they always change it up. I mean, out of the Night Shift anthology, you got Sometimes They Come Back, the Trucks movie, and a few other things that came out of that. But Boogeyman was one of the better stories, short. So I was waiting to see how they were going to expand it. And I think they did a good job expanding it without killing it. Because I'm telling you, as you know, some of the Stephen King adaptations are just horrible.
Yeah.
This is a good one. This is a good one.
Yeah. So you did see this one?
Oh, absolutely. I saw this
one. Good. Yes.
Yeah.
Because, of all the horror movies that came out this year, and there's been quite a few, I have been disappointed that I haven't heard many people talking about the Boogeyman. Like that the conversation list. And
I think it's the timing. It came out like you said, like at the early part of the season when it's kind of quiet.
Right.
So I think the timing killed it.
That's true.
If anything, plus with all the strike stuff going on,
That's
just got buried. Yep.
So anybody watching this, check out The Boogeyman if you like horror, because it is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's on streaming too. I think it's on Hulu currently, so you can check it out. Yep. What you got at number 7?
All right, Evil Dead Rise, and all of the horror lists this year probably have Evil Dead Rise on it. Okay, so that shouldn't be a shocker. Yes, it was enjoyable. You know what?
What you got? Oh no, she got the poster.
I have a gigantic poster.
Where do you put that?
Look at that. I have not put it up yet. I have quite a few in here. Ooh. I even have one for Thanksgiving, but I used to buy a lot of posters to put in my room, and I haven't had to in the last few years because I keep just them for free. But that
one would not leave the studio. Ain't nobody in this house.
That one's going on my ceiling. That's what I'm
trying. Oh, damn.
Yeah. And it's big too. It's a big one. It's like one of my larger ones in here. I got some big ones, but that's one of my larger ones.
And I have seen that one too in the theater. I want to hear what you have to say because I saw that one. Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
I did enjoy this. The monster was well done. And I feel like this relies on another fear, like, what would you do if your own mother, who's supposed to love you more than anybody and look after you, turns on you and tries to kill you? That's scary. That is a scary concept in and of its own. Mom's acting sold this. She was so great. The lady who acted, played the mom. As you know, this is the last Evil Dead, I think, was in 1981.
Wow.
So it's been a while since we had an Evil Dead movie, but I think as long as they keep making these, people are going to keep watching them. Evil Dead Rise is just a good concept.
This one is open too. It's open for a sequel.
Yes. It's very suspenseful. And I remember afterwards, because I went to a movie screening of this one too, it's very suspenseful, but I remember afterwards we were talking a lot about it. It stirred up some emotion and thinking, about, what about this and what about that? The suspense really was heavy in this one. It's rated R, which is good. I read that from, this is according to Lee Cronin, that they used 6,500 liters of fake blood for this one.
That shit was bloody as hell. That's the blood. I'm like, damn. You know, I mean, I hadn't seen that much blood since like The Shining when the elevator opened. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn.
Yes. And that's blood. And that's the thing that came to mind too when I saw that blood. Yeah, this is a bloody movie. So that is great trivia for this one.
It is like, going back to the cheese grater. I'm just saying, some of y'all already seen this. I was in the theater. This is the one I went to the theater to see, with the crying baby.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
know why
no.
took the damn baby to the theater, but
Oh,
anyway.
that's awful. And in the along with the poster that they gave us, we had a little gift box, and one of the I have it on my refrigerator down there, but there was a few things in there, a Band-Aid, I think, and there was a mini cheese grater magnet.
I
It was
ain't
perfect.
gonna even tell him.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was in the kitchen.
Yeah. So I can move on because
Yeah.
that one's going to be on everybody's list.
Yeah, I agree. What you got, number 6?
All right. It Lives Inside. Now, It Lives Inside, I kept going back and forth between whether I wanted to add that one on my list, but I decided to, again, for more policy reasons, like for Haunted Mansion. I wanted to add this one because I loved the Indian culture that they brought into this one. Okay. And I'm always looking for diversity and inclusion when it comes to horror. So you'll notice it a lot. That's on my list. I'm really endeared to it if they have people of color in it. And so it Lives Inside. We have Indian girls and their families and the dynamics that are happening with them is being explored. And I love that. They left it open for another, and I would totally watch the other if there's a sequel. I almost turned it off. So I have to say that it is not my favorite horror film, but by somewhere around the middle, it started getting really good. And so I was like, yes, I'm because I was rooting for this movie. I was rooting for it. And by the end, it got really good. There's a monster on there that's really horrifying. It's like Godzilla meets Predator. He's got some powers where he can go invisible. And anytime you throw in like someone is trying to kill you along with some other supernatural power that they have, that makes them a little more spooky. So the monster is pretty spooky. It's and I thought it was a pretty scary monster too. At the timing, like when they had him jumping out and when he would appear, like that was pretty scary. There's a psychological element to this too, and that always gets me. It's one of those things where it can kind of be metaphorical for carrying darkness and carrying grief and how it passes on, and whether it's what happens when you hold it inside or when you get ready to let it out, So I kind of saw where it could be not just like a physical monster, but a more spiritual monster too.
What do you compare it to? This little different? Sounds a little different.
Yeah. What do I compare it to?
It's a monster flick, you're saying, like kind of like a monster movie. Yeah. If anything.
Actually, the part that I was just talking about that metaphorical part was kind of like Smile. Smile.
Oh, shit.
Smile was fucking fantastic, okay? Not quite like Smile, but I mean, if you look at the elements, how Smile has, it's a physical smile that's being passed on, but it's metaphorical for the darkness and the grief that's being passed on. So that's kind of what that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. Or like,
enough said. Smile fuck with you it will fuck with you for a while if you watch it. I got you.
Yeah, I enjoyed that element of it, and it's again, I want to see more of stuff like this. We don't usually see horror with Indian culture.
Yeah.
So I want to see more of that. They're bringing that monster to life. That legend. They brought that legend to life. Yes.
So, do you know how can people find that? Is it streaming now or?
Yes, this one is.
I need to check that out.
Let me see. This one is on Hulu. Let me look it up real fast.
Okay. You can check it. Because I remember, I think it was like Humanoids of the Deep back in the day, some of the old school where the Indians were involved with, or was it the movie with Sarah Ann and the neighborhood on the Indian burial grounds? Remember that? Poltergeist.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm glad to see, that's included. So
yeah,
we'll find it. We'll find
not
it.
Hulu. I meant Prime. I looked it up.
It's Prime. It's on Prime. Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely, I'll check that. I got to check these out. Definitely got to check that out. Cool.
The next one that's on my list is the one that you mentioned to me. You asked if I had seen No One Will Save You, and at the time I hadn't, but I decided to look for it. Now, No One Can Save You. I mean, there were moments that really scared me, and I don't feel that often.
Yeah,
there were moments, and I don't mean just jump scares, but there were moments where, and I don't want to say scared, but I mean it got my blood pumping. It got me like, like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And most of the time, I'm sitting calm and still. I'm not really bothered. I'm looking, depending on what's going on, but. This really, it had an effect on me with the monsters. This is a sci-fi type thing. So we have aliens here, and the aliens, it made me jump a few times. And I watched this on Hulu in my own house, not in the theater where they got all the sound stuff, but in my own house is where it kind of got me for a few minutes. And the problem with this one and why it's not higher on my list is that there was some trauma here that they went in. And it worked with the story. It added another layer to the story element. This lady, she ended up doing something to her childhood friend, and so they spent so much time on Maud though, and that part of the story was real slow. Like you can take one scene, if they just sped that scene up a little bit faster, we could have just got to more of the aliens because the aliens were really terrifying. There were times where I was like, oh my God, they're going to get her. They're going to get her. It was suspenseful, like from one moment to the next. I didn't know where the story was going. And I usually like that too. It was unpredictable for me anyway. I feel like it was what Nope should have been. When they had the saucers coming down, I felt like Nope was not really, it didn't cross into horror. Like, I'm not even saying that that's what they intended to do, but that's what everybody kind of made it out like it was supposed to do. I love the concept also that the aliens can kind of fix us. You know what I mean? Like, there's a part, so you didn't watch it?
Oh, I watched it.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Well,
so, when you got to the end and you see, everybody's just, we're kind of in a utopia. I love that concept of the aliens coming down and fixing us. So in the beginning, I was like, she is terrified of this alien, as I would be too. Anybody would be terrified, but it was coming from a place of the unknown. We don't know what this thing's purpose is, what their motivation is, but they're in my house right now. We don't know. So that would scare anyone. But I got to thinking, like, are they really trying to hurt her? That's what I was thinking in the beginning. Like, I didn't get the feeling that the thing was trying to hurt her, but it was scary. You have a door here, and then the claw starts coming across like that. Man, that would have scared the bejesus out of me. I would have been terrified. And those are the moments, and I thought the actress did such a great job, because when she was shaking and terrified, so was I. I was like, oh my God.
But you know what made it even better, even more impressive on the acting? There was really no dialogue.
Right. That's true.
It was almost like Quiet Place.
Yes, that's true.
It was loud, but there was no dialogue really among the characters, which made it kind of freaky.
And it all rested on her acting and her showing us how she felt, which I think really is what made me feel the scares that I felt. I think it was really about this actress, because she sold that. I was terrified too, because I'm thinking, I don't think he's really trying to harm you, but I get it, because I'd be scared too. Like, I'd be reacting the same way she was. But this one is a good one. I enjoyed it. I will say that, like I said, those moments with Maud and all that, I was like, oh my goodness, can we get through this? But it did add another layer to the story. So I think that's good writing.
Goodbye. And I'll say this. I think the critics were too hard on it. I don't know why. The critics were as hard on this because if I had read the reviews before I saw it, I may not have watched it. but I watched it on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy B, that's the same with a lot of these movies that are on my list. When I look up on IMDb, the ratings are 5s. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is a 9, 10 easily.
Yeah. Easily.
So if I want to watch something, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. Same here.
To anybody that's listening to this or watching this, by all means, regardless of what any of us say, if the story description appeals to you, watch it anyway. Don't let someone tell you not to watch something, because there's value in all of this art. But this is one of them where I thought it was great. This is another element, Tommy, that I thought was really great too. We have seen the aliens before, and I think their physical makeup wasn't all that scary in and of itself. But what I hadn't seen with these type of aliens was their telepathic abilities. Yeah, that was what I was saying a minute ago about having the monster and it lives inside being able to go invisible. Well, here they're able to move the objects. Yeah. And I thought that added a whole nother level of scare factor to it too, which was great for these monsters. That's another part of it that made it really, really scary.
I agree. And one last thing I'll say, and I'm not going to spoil it for people, but it worked out to her advantage at the end. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
It did. I mean, when you see what she was into, her, what her hobby was, and you see the end of the movie, it worked to her advantage. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. Somebody, you may not always get that, but it was interesting. Yeah. The ending was interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
What you got at number 4? Number 4.
Are we just at 4? I haven't gotten any further than that.
No. You I'm talking about. I'm counting down. So you only got 4 left.
Okay. Well,
you've already done 6.
Now,
so,
right here, the next ones that are on my list were my favorites. Okay. Now we're talking about the ones that I felt were perfect. I gave all of these 10s from here on. From all of these here on, I'm gonna start with Saw 10, Saw X. It was great. It was fantastic. Now, let me also say that I enjoy the Saw franchise. My co-host on my podcast, she doesn't really enjoy them, so it's like she may not really like this one. But
I'm with her.
You didn't like it? Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Those gadgets, man, they get to me.
Yes, I know that Jim is going to give me some creative kills. He is an engineer, and he is sitting around figuring out how he can kill somebody and make it. And I mean, it's a game. But listen, the psychological element I love too, because the question is, how bad do you want to live? How important is it to you? How important is redemption too? Because there's a moral dilemma here. More than likely, they have done something trifling, and he is bringing it to their face.
Yeah.
How bad do you want to be redeemed? How important is it for you to live? And then he's taking his engineering mind and he's putting a gadget that is out of this world together, and he gives me the creative kills that I'm watching him for. I like how in this one, now I really love the dude on the tricycle, the little the toy on the tricycle. I love that. Yeah. That one is great. But here we spend a whole lot more time with John Kramer. John Kramer is, kind of like the villain of the show, but to me, he's more like an anti-hero and not really a villain. But how do you make him look a little, because we're rooting for him. How do you make him a little less villainy is that you have somebody even worse than him. And so here we have someone who is horrible. This character, I'm not going to say who, but this character is so bad that they make John Kramer, who is effectively putting these contraptions on them that could kill them. That villain is making John Kramer look even better. And
the dude who never dies.
What's that?
He never dies. Remember? I mean, I thought he was gone. I thought he was dead at one point. They brought him back.
Yeah, but they better. Have you seen?
Yeah, he's the franchise. Yeah, he's the franchise.
Yeah, you seen the? I mean, do you think you think the movie would succeed with the woman taking over his sidekick?
No, they needed him. They needed him.
That's
when
what
when I saw him, no pun intended, in the trailer, I said, okay, this is gonna be a winner. This is gonna be a winner.
That's right. It's not going to survive with just her, even though he's kind of like that's his second in command, kind of pass the baton to her. But no, not really. You need to stick around if we're going to continue to make the big bucks off this movie. So I loved it, and I'm here for all of them that they come out with.
Okay, cool.
All right,
what you got next? Your top 4 100 ends. What's next?
Talk to me.
Oh, yeah, I saw. I mean, I kicked myself for not seeing this. I wanted to go see it in the theater that weekend, and something came up. But I want to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Talk to Me was another Houston Horror Film Festival. I saw this on a screening, and it was outstanding. It was so outstanding that anytime I even hear the words "Talk to Me," I think about this movie. I'm like, wow. Oh, it takes me right back to it. It's an Australian movie. We have a Black female lead. Yeah, I loved it. And I'm going to tell you, the part that's most terrifying to me about this movie is the loop. There is a loop. And anytime there's a movie that shows that I don't see the end of this horror, that is the scary part to me. Like, it's like, oh my goodness, we just gonna keep going and going and going with this. But it also lets me know there can be a Talk to Me 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, they've been talking about a franchise because it did so well.
Yes. Wow. This is a win. That's all I gotta say about this. But I will say also, this is the reason why kids don't need to be playing around with stuff they don't know. You see some old relics and stuff, or you hear some, don't play around with it. Don't be playing around with it.
Hey, you know what? I learned my lesson with the Exorcist and Captain Howdy. Captain Howdy, no Ouija, put through that Ouija board in the trash can.
Don't play. Don't be playing. You don't know what you're doing.
That's right.
Yeah, this one's real bad.
So what you got next? Talk to me. I definitely got to see it. By the way, is Talk to Me out on streaming yet? Has it come out yet on digital?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, but I'll look into it. I'll check, and I'll put it in the notes.
You know what? This one is so intense. Also, Tommy B. I'm not so sure I would want to watch it again, though. I would say that. It's intense.
That's intense.
It's intense, and it's kind of it kind of affected me in the sense that I was more stressed than I was entertained in some ways, which is good for horror. I'm okay with that, but like, I'm not so sure I want to go back through that again. Okay,
well, I got to check that out then.
Yeah,
damn, if it scared you.
Yeah, it was intense.
Okay.
All right. Now, my last two, and of course, I got my honorable mentions, but my last two, I am not sure which one should be number one for me. So, but I'll tell it in this order. The Nun 2 was one of my favorites. And I know that there is some, that's a controversial statement. Like people either loved it or hated it. The Nun, if you enjoyed the first one, then you're going to love the second one because this was bringing it. When I watched this one, I was just thinking, man, they upped the ante. So it's like, we don't just have the Nun on at some point we had 3 or 4 different monsters going on at the same time. Now, are they all controlled by the same demon? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if it's different demons going on or if the power of this one that is personified in the Nun is also controlling these other things that are going on. But baby, at the time that everything is coming to a head, you got these 3, 4 different threats going on at once. It was like, whoa, like it's hard to even breathe. I loved the cinematic part of it. It was so dark, and you could feel the darkness off the screen in this scene. We were talking on the podcast about that. Like looking at this, like there's a lot of movies that may have a dark tint, and it's like you're having trouble seeing, like actually seeing stuff. This felt dark to me.
Wow.
Like I could feel it. And I remember seeing in my feed that this was really filmed in an old abandoned French church.
Did this come out of The Conjuring?
Yes, this is a Conjuring. This is in the Conjuring universe. Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes.
The second one.
Yes. Right. The second one. Now the first one was just okay, but I was really excited about seeing this one. And I'm glad I did. And the reason why they appeal to me so much is because of my own religious, background. So anything that has some sort of religious element to it is going to draw me in already. I'm already paying attention to that. So I'm invested when it has that element in it already anyway. I was glad to see that we got a chance to see what happened to Maurice in this one. He was in the first one. And this was the setting of this is from 1956 France. 1956 in France. So, like, even when I was in Italy, I was thinking about how old everything is. Like, there's a lot of history there. That's the kind of history we don't have here in the U.S. So, not that 1956 is that old, but I mean, the settings, like where they're able to film, they have that, and I just felt like you could feel it. Let's see.
All right, what you got next? This is it. This is the biggie, right?
Yeah, this is the last one before my honorable mentions. But this one is going to be right up there with The Nun, and for the same reasons. The Exorcist, Believer. It's right. It's the same because I'm getting the same thing. I get the religious bent. They have upped the ante. So I know if you can see from the trailer, we don't have just one girl that's possessed now. We have two. Ooh. We got two girls. And we got a black girl and a black dad. So I was like, yes, I'm here for it. I love how they brought in the Haitian spirituality. They brought in the Christian with the white friend, her girl. They brought that in. Then we also have the Catholicism and the priests. You know what I mean? So we have a whole lot of different ones. And I loved how they had to all come together for this because we got two going on at the same time. Again, I'm not sure if we got one demon controlling both or if there are two different. Well, actually, yes, I do. I think I'm for sure it was one. I just thought about this scene at the end. But we have, I love how they had to converge the religions, but they were able to still practice in their own way, even though they were questioning what everybody was doing. It's going to take all of y'all to come together to have your beliefs. I felt very emotional at the end of this one, Tommy, to be,
Don't tell me because I got to see it. I saw the first one. So.
I felt
but bad. You know what? I was, kind of going back and I guess it's sentimental or, nostalgia seeing Ellen Bernstein, the original mom, and the fact that she had turned down so many of them, and she decided to do this one was interesting. Yeah.
It was wonderful seeing her and Linda Blair, as Reagan.
Wow.
Yeah, they. I hope that's not a spoiler for you, but
but
out there in public, yeah.
But
it was good to see how they wove that story in. It was visually stunning. The girls, they were scary. The girls, when they were possessed, they acted their asses off because
when she was walking into that church in the trailer, I was like, "Oh damn."
Oh, I was hollering at that part because I was like, I stood up in that church and I was laughing. But the idea of suffering but keeping going in life was pretty interesting to me. Like there was some things that I had to sit and think about for a little bit, just about life in general. About how we go through all these things, but the objective is to keep going.
Gotcha. I got to see it. It's on my list, and I'm kicking myself that I haven't seen it, but it gives me incentive. As we tape this, we're a week out from the Halloween holiday, so I do plan on seeing it before then.
Okay. Yeah. I enjoyed The Exorcist, and actually I missed it. I just recently caught it. I didn't watch it when it first came out because I just been busy. But I'm glad I did. I really enjoy what they did with it. if they put more of these out, I'm going to watch all of these. I enjoyed these two better than The Pope's Exorcist. The Pope's Exorcist did not.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
That did not make my list because there were a lot of things on there where I was kind of like, really though, really. And I mean, The Nun 2 and The Exorcist brought that possession element so strong that I felt like it just made that one. It showed that one up a little bit too much.
Yeah.
It showed.
What's his name? The actor Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe. You always felt like Russell Crowe was going to pull it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Throughout, and he always had a funny line, so you always kind of felt like, nothing's going to happen to Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
You know.
And they went somewhere really weird at the end. It just kind of fell apart to me at the end.
Yeah, I agree.
And even if you have a slow beginning or there's some parts in the middle or the beginning that don't work out, that ending better become strong for me. It's got to all tie in. It's got to all go well. And I felt The Pope's Exorcist just kind of crashed and dived towards the end.
I got you.
Some of them that I that weren't on my list that could have been though. The Last Voyage of the Demeter. It was, we got Dracula again, and I felt like Renfield did Dracula better. So I am interested in what they do with the part 2 for The Last Voyage. I felt like this was a good opening for bringing another retelling of Dracula back, but I want to see what they do with it for the next one. Like, this one was good. It was okay. I like seeing Dracula. It didn't wow me though, and I'm looking forward to see what they do next. I
think this movie was a victim of timing again.
Yeah.
They dropped it like right at the edge of summer, or it felt like
they did the same thing. They brought it's on streaming for October.
Okay, got it.
They did the same thing. They wanted to make sure they got that Halloween streaming. Bird Box Barcelona. Now, the reason I didn't add this to my list is because we already had a Bird Box. And so in that regard, it's not new. It's not fresh. We've already seen it. But Barcelona version, my kids watched this with me. They thought it was scary. So they felt like it was much scarier than the first Bird Box. So, there was some elements of it that I really enjoyed. It was done. It was done. It was very well done. Bird Box Barcelona could have made it on my list. I probably would have put it in the place of It Lives Inside, or kind of right there together. The Blackening. I enjoyed The Blackening. The Blackening would have been right there with The Haunted Mansion in terms of good and funny and horror. It's not, it's not fantastic, but it is watchable. And then there's one that is called Nowhere. Nowhere is not, it's more like a thriller. It's not even a horror film. But listen, you remember when I talk about A Quiet Place and I talk about when a woman's pregnant, how vulnerable that is and how scary of a situation that is to me? Well, that's where they go in Nowhere. And I found it terrifying. Even though it's not a horror movie, it's a thriller and it is a survival movie. This woman is doing everything she can to survive in a tanker, in a container in the middle of the ocean. It is a horror movie to me.
It is. Oh, hell yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, so time to round out, I will say this. I have not watched The Fall of the House of Usher yet.
Oh, okay. I have.
And I know that if I had watched it, it would be on my list. Because we have loved anything that Mike Flanagan has put out. Okay? So that's why I got to say I haven't seen it yet.
Let me tell you, because you and I talked about, what was it, Midnight Mass?
Yes.
And I thought Midnight Mass was one of the best Netflix series that I had watched in a long time or ever watched.
Yes.
And it's not as I would probably say not as good or great as Midnight Mass, but it is very good. Okay. I recommended it. And I'm kind of a American lit nut.
Yeah.
Poe, I studied.
Yeah.
So, seeing how he played around with the Edgar Allan Poe stuff and still keeping it modern. So, you don't lose people. It doesn't become this whole gothic thing, but it still has gothic elements. I thought it was great. I mean, I'm telling you, Flanagan is the new Stephen King. Stephen King is Stephen King, but Stephen King's generation is starting to fade. And I think, Flanagan, I haven't seen Bly Manor and I haven't seen The Haunting of Hill.
I love
those are the ones I got to go back. I got to go back and see them. Yeah,
so I know I'm going to enjoy this, and that's why I have to mention it. It's not on my list only because I have not watched it, so I can't say, but I know that it probably should be. But
I'm telling you, it was impressive. It was. Because I wasn't going to watch it. I said, everybody's played around with Edgar Allan Poe and tried to do, But when I really watched it, it took me to a place I didn't expect.
Oh yeah, I'm going to watch that for sure. The second one that I haven't seen, and this is where I end, but I have already heard about it, and I was supposed to watch it. The Houston Horror Film Festival had a screening for it, and I was going, and I got tickets for the screening, but then I also had my flight to Italy then, and so I ended up not seeing it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't even find it in the theater, or I would have went to the theater. I don't think it even comes out until like this week or next week. And so I'm going to go see it, but I've already heard a lot about it. When Evil Lurks.
Who's in that? I have
not seen When Evil Lurks yet, but when I do, it probably would be on my list because I've heard people say that it was even better than Talk to Me and stuff.
So what's the premise? What's the premise of it real quick? Because I know we got to.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
It just looks scary. Okay, I'll look up the trailer.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm going to watch it. Yeah.
Well, cool. Good list as always. Let me give it up to you. Dicey Grenor, Spicy Dicey in the building. Yeah. As always, representing H-Town. Sorry about H-Town baseball. Sorry.
I heard. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm a Dusty Baker fan. I like Dusty. Dusty used to be a Brave, so I still follow Dusty. Well, but hey, how can people get in touch with you?
I'm all over social media at Dicey Grenor. That's DICEYGRENOR. I will say that I have not been as consistent or as as with it as I normally.
Yeah, you've been traveling.
Yeah, I just got way much going on. My daughter has been helping me a bit on Facebook and some Instagram, and I've hired other people who've come and gone. But if you want to get up with me, you can find me at Dicey Grenor, and I'll get back to you at some point. My website is DiceyGrenorBooks.com, and I'm on Patreon, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, to YouTube. You can find me if you want to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I'll make sure the website's on the notes as well. So,
all right, thank you so much.
And we'll put it out there. And again, go to castropolis.net. Make sure, we love your comments and feedback on the list. Always, I get great comments and feedback. A lot of people who are discovering this season, when they get into the fall season, getting close to Halloween, you give them the tips to celebrate the holidays. So I appreciate you doing it, taking the time. Happy birthday to your daughter again, because I know she always celebrates right around the time we do this show. So I got to give her
She turned 16 yesterday.
Oh, wow. Get the shotgun, Dicey. Not the car. Here we go.
Yes, that's where we are.
That's where we are. Again, Dicey Grenor, y'all. Go to DiceyGrenorBooks.com. All things Spicy Dicey. And just thank you so much. Keep doing the Sex and Horror podcast. Got to come back and do something like normal. We got to talk about the sex side. How about that?
I'd love to.
We'll get you on because, we did that before. I got to get you back on here. But thank you, Dicey. Have a great evening.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you
so much. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Take care.
Bye.
You've been listening to This is the G Podcast. This is the G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.